Very, very exclusive interview with DJ Storm. And I'm thinking, is it time to drop it?
It's time to run it.
Did you hear that? I think so. So yeah, this was recorded last Monday, the night before Chemistry Remembered, down at Cargo on Tuesday night, sick night. And me and Virus went down to Black Market Records and we had a little natter with Storm. So I'm going to drop it. Are you ready, Virus?
Yeah.
You're safe. Alright, let's drop this. So it's the night before Chemistry Remembered. Thanks so much for taking out the time of your very busy schedules to come and have a natter with us at Bang Radio. Firstly, I'd like to talk to Storm. I mean, obviously, Chemistry was your DJ partner, so tell us a bit about her, who she was, and obviously Chemistry Remembered, and what the night means to you.
We started DJing, I suppose we got our decks in October 91 and started on the road in 92 pretty quickly. And obviously in 1999 she unfortunately lost her life coming back from a gig with me, and we thought after 10 years it would be nice, you know, I get hassled a lot to do the chemistry nights, and we've done 5, I think we did 5 already, and most of the people playing this time are kind of the same people that have pretty much played, you know what I mean? So I thought it was about time that everybody, you know, came together around this time and just, you know, a lot of her friends, and I think she was very significant in our scene and did a lot, you know, to inspire a lot of people to be in our scene, and you know, I think it's nice to just come together and just remember what she meant to each of us, and I think she meant a lot, you know, as I travel around the world, even today, people still put the K7 album in front of me and say, you know, this is what turned me on to get into drum and bass, and it's been great, you know, having that, and, you know, kind of people still remembering her.
Well, you mentioned just how inspiring and influential Chemistry was, and I mean, as a duo, you two were completely in a league of your own, primarily because you had such a huge effect on the dance music scene during the 90s, playing an important role in jungle's transition to drum and bass, but also, you know, of course you were ladies, and at that time there weren't a lot of women representing and doing their thing in this scene.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very male-dominated scene, and I think the way Kemi and I came through was maybe different to a lot of people, you know, Reinforced kind of took us straight under their wing. I mean, within 2 months of meeting Reinforced, we were on the road as their support DJs, and we were just, you know, we just felt like we'd had to get good really quickly, you know, to be able to kind of live up to their expectations, but they showed us so much confidence, and I think Randall as well, you know, our first few gigs obviously Randall got for us, and, you know, he was there by our side, and he wasn't one of, you could see those other kind of DJs who were hoping that someone would make a mistake. There are those kind of DJs who hope as a woman you make a mistake, you know what I mean, or you're maybe not going to be quite as good as the guys, because I don't think you tend to put women and technical things going together, you know what I mean. So I think in the beginning we just had to live up to a lot of expectations because people were putting their faith in us, but I think on the other hand it worked for us as well, and I think Reinforced being completely behind us as DJs and Randall being behind us gave us a real kind of, we didn't see all the animosity about being women or all the negatives about it. We just felt really positive from day one, and I think it's then when we sat down and decided about Chemistry and Storm, we didn't sound like particularly like women, you know, and when we made a year and a half of promotional tapes once a month. That's what you did back in the day. You found all the promoters' numbers, you phoned them up and you say, we've got these DJs, Chemistry and Storm. We wouldn't say, we were just saying we were handling them and would they like to listen to a tape, and it's how we got most of our work in the beginning. And then when we turned up they were like, oh, you girls, you know what I mean. When we played at Desire the guy said, oh, I thought you were coming in white gloves and hot pants, and we weren't ever really like that, do you know what I mean. And I think a lot of that was expected of us, but we kind of showed that we were actually a little bit older, we'd already had careers, so we kind of knew, I think, a little bit more to handle ourselves and try and be 2 or 3 steps ahead of the guys, because you tend to have to plan a little bit further and just work on your goal a little bit harder.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, so far your career in the scene has spanned over 15 years, and you've achieved so much as a duo with Chemistry and by yourself, achieving the title of First Lady of Drum and Bass. But obviously I can't not mention your involvement with Metalheads, which you founded in collaboration with Chemistry and Goldie. I mean, it's achieved such legendary status in drum and bass, and still the biggest label in the scene. What do you think, though, is at the heart of its success?
Well, I think obviously Goldie and his absolute genius of creativity, you know what I mean. When we first met him, he really, I would say he kicked us up the backside to get ourselves really on the road, you know, with Goldie. When you first met him, there was no negatives to him. There was no, I can't do that and I won't do that and I shouldn't do that. It was all like, so how can I make it happen? If people told him that's not the way to do it, he would just be like, well, why? You know, and let me work out how I can make it happen, you know. And obviously we were at Rage one night, you know, a little bit worse for wear, and and we came back and Goldie just kind of said, right, this is our dream. I'm going to become this producer and you two will become these DJs and we'll have a label and a club and a merchandising range and we'll build this lifestyle label. And that was how we kind of started. He was a force of nature. For a year all you heard is, who's that crazy gold teeth guy from Wolverhampton sticking tunes in my face? Everybody was like a bit shocked by him because he came like a bit of a pit bull, you know. And then, I mean, he ran on stage at one of, you know, reinforced PAs, and we were mortified, you know, absolutely, right in the middle of Mr. Kirk's nightmares. There's Goldie trying to shove dats, and they're just looking at him like, who's the hell is this crazy gold teeth guy? Goes, I want to make this music, you know what I mean? But I think because of that, he got really noticed very quickly, and then he just hunted people down that he wanted. I mean, Dillinger was like somebody that Goldie just had to find, you know what I mean? When we first heard Tear Off Your Chest, Dillinger, you know, Goldie was like, I want him on my label, and that was one of the premises behind Metalheads, was that Goldie wanted to first sign people that had turned him onto drum and bass. Wax Doctor, Doc Scott, Pesce, you know, the kind of people that he'd heard first. So that was the kind of theory behind the Metalheads label, and then it kind of just, in the beginning we couldn't really sell any of it. People didn't want to know this new weird kind of drum and bass, but then all of a sudden when we got Angels Fell from Dillinger and Your Sound from J Magic, that was it. It just kind of went a little crazy.
So you mentioned a few artists and tunes on Metalheads, but if you had to choose your all-time favourite or most influential 3 tracks, I know it's really hard, what would they be?
Oh gosh, I have to say Angels Fell by Dillinger. If you're going to say one Dillinger, then I think that's got to be it, and he's got to be in my all-time top 3. Then I've got to say, for me, even though this track's not even out there, it's still a track that's making me cry right now, and that's Sometimes Sad by Goldie, which is, and I think kind of there's a lot of stuff by him I would like to mention. I just think he's very good when he's, you know, I think he can evoke a lot of emotions. And what else? God, track number 3. I think for me and KEMI, one of our almost favourite tracks together is something called Leo Anaboldi by Leo Anaboldi, which is a really old track that came out in about 91, 92. So that was pivotal to us, that it was changing sounds. It wasn't house and it wasn't techno. it was this new sound of whatever it was, and it was from Italy, and it was really odd. I think we were actually playing it at the wrong speed in our scene, but amazing track.
So people, that was the first lady of drum and bass. That was Storm herself. And as you can hear in the background, we've actually got the Dillinger tune, Angels Fell. That's a heavy, heavy tune. Back in the days,